I haven't met a person that doesn't want to read more. Reading is really important. When reading a book, that's the best activity that you can do to learn about a new skill. Or I don't know, to feel pleasure, like when reading a fiction book. Because a person took a lot of time, they put their knowledge into the book, they thought of stories to make it interesting. Reading has a high ROI. That's why I say that it's the best activity to do. And I have a story. 6 years ago, I moved to this house. And when I moved, I had no internet. I had no Wi-Fi. The signal to my phone was bad. We had no TV signal. We had no channels. And we just had nothing to do. It was summer break. And we had electricity, but we had no internet connection. So what could you do? And do you know what I did? I had nothing to do. And I thought, I have to kill time. I have to do something. So I started reading. I got into the habit of reading just because I didn't have anything to do. My signal was trash, so I couldn't even watch YouTube on high quality. The quality that I was watching was 144p, and it was still loading with the lowest quality. I had portions where it went fine, and it started loading, and was loading for a lot of time, and I was frustrated because, as I said, I could not even watch YouTube at the lowest setting. So I had no Wi-Fi, no internet. I had no TV because there was no TV signal, and I thought I can't do anything on technology. So I started reading. I bought books. I had a few books, and it wasn't like non-fiction. It was fiction. It was books like Harry Potter, all these fiction books, and I just started reading them. I enjoyed that, and it was everything fine. Everything was going well. I had a lot of books that I could read, and I was reading 2 or 3 books a week. It was a lot of books that I was reading because, as I said, I did not have anything else to do. But slowly we got our internet, we got TV, we got the technology back. And what did I do? I stopped reading. I stopped doing what I was doing when I had no technology. I started using technology. I was wasting time on Instagram. I was talking with friends. I was wasting time on YouTube. I was watching shows on the TV that I didn't even care about. And my reading capacity went down. And it was extremely hard for me to concentrate. I tried to read a book for school, and the same book that took me 2 days to read when I had no internet, that time took me 2, 3 weeks. It was a huge increase of time that it took me to read just because I put another priority. I had another priority. But I think you also want to read. I think that if you clicked on this video, you also want to get into the habit of reading. You also want to read more. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. And you don't have to take it to the extreme as I did. When I moved to the house, I had no internet, no TV, no nothing. You don't have to go to that extreme. You can still read a lot even if you're surrounded by technology. The first thing that you should do to increase the amount of time you spend reading is to schedule your time and put in time to read. Now when I'm at school and I have boring classes, what do you think I do? I read. Before I made this rule, I was on Instagram. I was scrolling on Instagram, on TikTok. I was wasting time because I was just bored, and what's the easiest thing that you could do? Scroll on TikTok. And that's what I was doing. But I thought, bro, if I have this time, I have to be at school and I don't want to pay attention. Why not use that time productively? And that's what I did. I told myself, okay, when I have biology or whatever, a class that I don't care about, I just read about something that I care about. And that's what I started doing. And now when I go to school and have chemistry or biology, I just open my book on my phone and start reading. Or you can just genuinely get a real book and start reading at school. Because from my experience, teachers are more likely to let you read from a physical book than on your phone because they think, oh, you're on your phone, you're scrolling or whatever. But if you are actually reading a real book, they know, oh, he's reading. So they will let you read. From my experience, I don't know how it's in other countries. But teachers don't want you to waste time. So you either pay attention to the class or you do something productive. And reading a physical book is a sign that you're doing something productive. Or I genuinely get a 30-minute block before I go to sleep where I read. You can do that. You can set, okay, before I go to bed at 9 p.m. I start reading and I go to sleep when I fall asleep. And you could be reading for an hour and a half, but you're reading and you're making yourself tired because before you go to bed and you made a habit that, okay, before bed you read, your mind is like, oh, he's reading, so, and it's close to the bedtime, so it's time to fall asleep. Or another example is that you read on the toilet while you take a poop. Because what do you do right now when you go to the toilet? You get your phone and start scrolling on Reddit or start watching YouTube videos. But if you tell yourself, okay, when I go to the bathroom, I will read, and you could even get a physical book and not your phone. When I was in that period where I had no internet, I genuinely got a book with me when I went to the toilet. I was reading from a physical book while on the toilet because I had no internet. And you can do that as well. When you go to the toilet, don't take your phone because you'll be more likely to scroll. Just get a physical book. Because think, you have a book and nothing else. What will you do? Either do nothing or read. It's not like you're wasting time because you're pooping. You're not wasting time. But if you're pooping and scrolling, you are wasting time. But if you get a book, you might read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. So it's more productive. So you can think of your life and think of times where you are usually wasting time. Let's say before school you have 15 minutes of free time. Why scroll on TikTok when you could get a book and read 5 sentences? You will not waste that time because you have some free time. And instead of being at the baseline and doing nothing, you can do something like reading or do something like scrolling and make it less productive. So I suggest like you read. And there is time to read. Don't think, oh, my schedule is extremely full and I don't have time to read. When you go throughout your day, just be mindful and think, oh, in this time I could be reading. And just open the book. Download some books on your phone and open that instead of opening TikTok. The second thing that you could do is to increase your attention span. And I'm not gonna go too in depth because I will make another video in the future. But to increase your attention span, you just need to embrace boredom. You just need to get used to not doing anything. Because let's say here's the baseline. But when you are bored, you just open TikTok and the baseline goes up. And to read, you have to be at this baseline. So you can't read. But if you are bored, you decrease the baseline. If you scroll, it goes up. If you do nothing, it goes down. And if it's lower, it will be a lot less easier to read because you have the attention span for it. And think without attention span, you can't read because you need to sit there and focus at something that is not moving like a TikTok. If you increase your attention span, you can read for longer, you can read more, and you can remember the information a lot easier because you will be fully present. You will be paying the most attention to that. And the information will go directly to your brain. And the third tip is to focus only on one book. Because I have a story. I was once in class, and it was one of those boring classes that I didn't want to pay attention to. And I thought, oh, I could read because I will be productive. So I opened my books app and saw like 5 books there. And I thought, what should I read? Oh, this one, I've read a bit of it, but this one is more interesting, but this is better. Oh, but this one is newer, and I thought like this, and I wasted 10 minutes thinking, oh, what should I read? And I ended up not reading anything because I was too overwhelmed, and all of my mental capacity went to thinking, what should I read? And when I decided what should I read, I got extremely bored instantly. I opened the book and all of my motivation to read was gone. If you have too many options, it will take a lot more energy to think what will you read instead of using that energy to put into reading. Just take it one book at a time. Think, okay, I'm gonna read deep work. And after I'm done with deep work, I'm gonna move to how to influence and influence people. And after I'm done with that book, I'll go to the magic of thinking big. And you go like this. You know, you have 10 books to read, but you don't think, oh, I'll start this one, but 2 days later, I'm gonna start this one, and in 3 days, I'll go to that one, and in 4 days, I'll go to the first one that I started reading. And if you do that, you will just forget what you learned in the first book. Then, as you read the first book, you forget what you learned in the fifth book, and it doesn't make any sense. It gets scrambled. But if you just start with a book, you read it fully, you understand it, you memorized it, you know what's talked about in the book, you're done with that, and you hop on the next one. That's it. That's what I did. I got a list, I downloaded all the books that I wanted to read, but I started with one. And when I'm done with that one, I'll go to the next one. And when I'm done with that one, I'll go to the next one. Because as I said, if you use less energy to think what will you read, you will read more because you'll use the energy that you otherwise would have used to choose the book. You use that energy to read, and it takes away that mental straining. That's it. Just find the time, increase the attention span, and focus only on one book at a time. If you enjoyed the video, scroll down and click on the subscribe button, bro. It will help both of us, especially you. See you later. Mwah.